trying to hold this light, but it's not working right. I don't have any place to put it. And forgive my hair. It is a Wednesday night, the third of January, 2024. Let me see. How's that look? Do I need it? Kind of, sort of, maybe. I don't know. Let me move this microphone over so you guys can hear me. And welcome to Nash Talk. Now, the reason I'm on, I don't have a special guest tonight, but I wanted to talk real quick about a couple things. Well, I guess we're just going to have to deal with this light. I normally have a stand for it. Should I find a stand? I got a stand for it. I'll put it over here. Real quick. Let me see. Let me get over here. Okay. I'm down in Tennessee. I'm back. I was in Detroit for a little while, the metropolitan area. I was actually in Detroit when I got there, the heart of Detroit, right there, smack dab, train station, Westin Hotel, anything you can think of famous or not famous about Detroit, Beverly Hills Cop, M&M, 8 Mile. I was there. And then, of course, the suburbs with about a 30-mile radius. One time I was in Port Huron, which is the only other Ambassador Bridge, so to speak, even though the one in Detroit's called the Ambassador Bridge. It's called the Gordie Howe Bridge. No, wait. I think they're still working on that. Anyway, so I had to come back. I drove, and I always stop in Louisville to see my boys. My one buddy, Gary Johnson, he was playing New Year's a couple nights ago. Let me just turn that off. Can you see me okay? Doesn't matter. All right. So now what we've got coming up, me and Darren Richard, Michael Kearsney, a few other people, we're trying to get some, a lot of things happening. We're trying to get some people to come, and we've got a lot of people on a list, a long list of people, not just here in Tennessee, Nashville, but also Detroit, Las Vegas, Los Angeles, and throughout. And if you know anything about any of those cities, of course, it's common sense that most of the people that belong or live in a new city that's an entertainment mecca, like New York or Detroit or Nashville, they're not really from those places. As a matter of fact, when you're in Detroit, you've got about 100 surrounding cities, right? It only makes sense. But just to, make it a little bit positive, we're really trying to focus on the artists, the music, the industry, past and present and future, of course. And we're just one of many, being realistic, podcasts out there. And I know that there's some out there that are really probably heavily financed, like a Joe Rogan. But what we're trying to do, and what I think we're going to be good at, is because we all have a lot of history. Darren, Michael, myself, in different factions. They've worked and produced and promoted bands throughout their entire lives. They've worked in radio. I've worked with radio station people from Clear Channel to iHeart. I started off as a DJ working with AM radios at parties, AM radio stations. What was the one? KQEO Albuquerque. I was like 14. And that kind of bit me because I like the way the DJs talk. Partly cloudy weather outside, 85 degrees, don't forget tomorrow. And I was also able to do what a lot of musicians aren't capable of doing unless they're in a cover band. And being in a cover band, even if let's say 500 songs, a DJ has to have like 80,000 songs to choose from. Could be Bad Company, Aerosmith, Bon Jovi, Earth, Wind and Fire. The list goes on and on and on and on. You like my corduroy shirt? Somebody just made a comment. I just put this on, and that's the other thing I want to talk about in a second too, the way I dress and even my hair. I was watching the country awards the other night, and nobody had a sense of hairstyle, fashion, or whatever. I'm like, so I'm thinking, hey, maybe that's what I got to do. Let it just go with the wind. But getting back with the thing that we're trying to do is that the sensibility that we have is knowing that a lot of people come down here to Nashville, just like all the big cities. I'm sure they're still recording in LA, Detroit, pretty much anywhere now. But thousands of songs are being created every minute of the day, from some really talented people, some that aren't so talented, but everybody's songs. We just want to be one of those little tiny components, that slice of Nashville. And I did get that idea. I was sitting with a couple guys, Dean Eggleston, Frank Savage, and a few other guys. And I looked at him and I said, we're at a pizza place that, God, what's his name? Jay DeMarcus from Rascal Flatts had something to do with, right on Broadway, right across the street from Winners, which is where the Whiskey Jam and all that, started. And I said, we just want a slice of Nashville. And they laughed. They liked it. And it just popped out of my head, slice of Nashville. And I'm sure anything I put out there is going to be somewhere in the wind on YouTube or Google or Wikipedia or wherever. I mean, you can't patent every single thing you think or say. But I knew that we were in a pizza place. I knew that we were able to try to bring some artists from Belmont University, the Nashville Songwriting Association, all within walking distance. And the Nashville Songwriting Association, that owns the Bluebird Cafe, which is probably the most popular place in Tennessee, even though it's not on Broadway at all. In fact, it's a few miles away from it. And now they're building some skyscraper right in their parking lot. And the parking lot holds maybe 10 cars at best. And the place only holds about maybe less than 100 people. So the city's growing faster than it should, actually. It's like it's going to be Tokyo probably within 5 years. I know that the roads aren't going to be big enough. So what we're doing is creating a way in and out of Nashville without you even having to come here or be there. And a lot of the surrounding cities, like I'm in Greenbrier, just a minute from Springfield, which is 20 miles north of Nashville. And then I talked to somebody else today. They're in Franklin. Like, here, I'll show you. Let me put this thing down. I even brought my notebook just in case I wanted to take notes, because I didn't want to go off on tangents, because I'm kind of excited. And I could be discouraged. I could be apprehensive. I could be, because a lot of people weren't necessarily fired up about the idea, but the last month or so, people were getting really, into it. And I went to a town called Lebanon. Somebody thought I was talking about the country. No, Lebanon. It's like, I don't know which way you're looking. So that's north, that's south, that's west. Well, here, I'll make it. My right is actually east, but I'll make that west. So if here's Tennessee right in the middle where my mouth is, I'm just north of it, a little bit to that right here, 20 miles. Whoops. Wait, I can't weather. I'm not a weather girl. But anyway, I'm just a little tilted right here at the top. And Franklin is like 20 miles south of Nashville. Lebanon is that way, about 20 miles. So all these little cities, all these little nuances are starting to pick up and capitalize. Now, the only problem with Nashville in the city and other places is that even though the roads are very nicely paved, they're usually typically really super windy, and they're only single lane. So getting in and out of those cities is kind of a challenge. And I suspect at the rate they're going, that it's going to be much, much, much harder. So the technology of the streaming factor, which I know that I've already been studying the things for the last several months, actually a couple of years, while I was doing something else, was to make sure that people could see and hear, number one, because the quality of the video that we present, I know I could push a button and make it twice as good. I could make it, right now it's being broadcast at a premium of 720. Okay. And if you know what that means, and then there's 1080. Now 4K is kind of off the charts right now. We're not at that level. Neither are the streaming factors at the moment. Not that I'm aware of. Maybe OBS, I'm not sure. But this particular one that we're using can, at the program level I'm at, no less than 10 people at a time from anywhere in the world, off their computer, off their phone, tablet, what have you, indoor, outdoor, at any point in time, in any time zone. So that's pretty good. Plus, we are able to take questions and comments live and after, and you can put in any kind of information. So what I want to do with Nash Talk, regardless of what goes on out there, is to not let it stay stagnant. Stagnant meaning I don't want it to just float whether we have guests or not. I want to post things. I posted something about Ace Frehley from Kiss. Kiss just ended their long reign of 60 years being on the road. I want to rock and roll all night, Detroit Rock City. And I wasn't even thinking about Ace Frehley, even though I know who he is. I've known who he is all my life. And I didn't realize he was so disgruntled because the guy that was on tour with Paul Stanley and Gene Simmons wasn't the original, guitarist for the band. And he was just putting them down. I thought, God, it was kind of negative, but I wanted to put it on Nash Talk to see what people, because rock and roll and Kiss is kind of a fabric of, the very essence of rock and roll, whether it's country or not. And I thought, oh, that's pretty cool. And I had Jelly Roll. I saw something Jelly Roll had did, and I put that on there. Then I saw somebody that I met in Nashville months ago at the place Donato's, and I haven't seen him in several months. And he's from Michigan, like myself, and he's a young man that actually fronted for, well, not for, but with Jack Russell from Great White, right? And he sang "Save Your Love," and then he went on to fill in this past summer, just a few months ago, with a band called Firehouse, and they had a lot of big hits in the back in the '90s, and they're still doing a big tour. So I put something that he did the other day. He's starting to record his own, songs. And I think he probably did it from like Logic from his computer. The reason I say all this is because no matter how big or small somebody is, I want it to be a communal thing. I want it to be whether you're in Nashville or want to come to Nashville, or you're from any other part of the country or part of the world, because I do talk to songwriters from all over the world all the time, every single day, in fact, including today. And, every songwriter, singer, artist, guitarist, anybody you can think of, even producers, they all want to achieve no less than one song. And I'm not talking a covered song, maybe a covered version of one that they've created on their own, a version that's different. But most importantly, a song that they can express themselves, maybe make some money with it, maybe become a big megastar, but also at the very end, leave a legacy years later from now and leave their mark in the world of music. Right? Makes sense. Now, as much as I write songs every single day, I wrote 2 today. And I've got my own thing here, my own setup. I got 2 computer monitors, 2 keyboards. I got all kinds of stuff here. I thought, you know what? Being a DJ, I was always intrigued. And I think this speaks for anybody that can't play a note, can't sing in pitch. And I think it's like the interesting facts that you find, good and bad, past and present, about an artist or a song. Like, God, how did that song come out? Or, wow, that song really wasn't about that? Wow, that's crazy. Or that song really was going to be called this or that? Or somebody else played on it? Or, wow, James Taylor played with the Beatles? Or, and these are from other interviews and articles I've seen. Joe Walsh lived with Rick James, I think, right? And these are like, wow, little mind-blowing things that are interesting. But in the meantime, I still want to capitalize with my guys on moving forward. And this is past, I share this on my personal page in Facebook. This has nothing to do with my son. This has nothing to do, even though he's the reason I'm here in Nashville. Pretty much the only reason. Well, I shouldn't say the only reason, but the main reason. And it pushed me to do something different and to give back to the music community, or perhaps the world, in my own way, just that much, and connect and make an opportunity or something that's really cool and interesting for other people, regardless of their history. Like I just interviewed, because of a couple guys that saw me a month ago. We had Byron Nemeth on, and we just had and he brought his group on, and the guy has this really long history of playing eclectic music for himself and for other people. And they're right now currently in Vegas. He was in Nashville for a while. Then he went to Vegas because he found a little bit more of a niche there. And now they're going to be in Los Angeles for NAMM, which is a big musical thing where they showcase artists and different brands of, instruments and software, you name it. It's kind of like the ultimate global conference, if you will, for that kind of thing. Plus networking, you're always going to automatically network. And again, that's another thing that I hope to have automatically incorporated into what we're trying to do, a live thing. How you leave the TV on. I remember as a kid back before streaming and all that, my dad or I would, so I'm talking so fast, I have to breathe in like this. I'm just trying to squeeze in a lot of things right now. And, you would fall asleep listening to the TV. And it wasn't because you fell asleep necessarily watching because you're tired, but you just love that something in the room kind of aspect of it, Well, that's kind of what this is also. I want you to be, even if you fall asleep watching it, that you can feel like you're part of something live, not just watching America's Got Talent or The Voice, and you can, text in with 10 million other people. I want people to at least maybe come on here. And what happens if it overloads, like the roads of Nashville? Excuse me. I was just pouring myself a cup of water here. Hold on. Oh, that's no good. I got a full cup of ice, no water. But guess what? Voila. And I was just kind of excited tonight for some reason, pretty fired up. And I don't know why. It's cold this time of year, not Nashville, but well, everywhere. The holidays are over. You're trying to sign your checks if you have any paper checks left, or sign something and you're still putting 2023. And isn't it weird? I think more now than ever because of maybe the COVID thing that kind of made 1 or 2 years disappear somehow. I think that when you see 2023, you're still thinking you're in the middle of it. Like we haven't really finished this year yet, but now we're into 2024. As you get older, maybe this is for the older people, time goes by really fast. When you're younger, it's like, wow, 2024, finally. But I think that having that said, I put myself on these little time diets, or what you might call time management. I have to get done in a couple weeks or a couple months. What some people, well, it takes about 8 years in Nashville, and then you got to go for another 8 years, and then you got to go 6 years, and then you get to play Broadway. I'm like, no, we ain't doing that. I've already done it. I mean, not play Broadway, but done the idea of trying to bring people together on this whole thing. Does it matter if it succeeds or not? Technically already has, because I was able to do it. I'm down in a basement of a really nice house in Greenbrier off of Tom Austin Highway, which can actually, if you take it all the way down without getting on the highway, which you can get on a few miles from here, if you take the straight windy road, you're in Nashville probably in the same amount of time. It's like a giant roller coaster, by the way. And, it's weird because when you're on these, windy roads, you realize, the journey that you're on is to get to a place that everybody wants to be. And I can do it from here in this basement. And yet I can get in my car and be down there within 20 minutes. And I want to bring that to you. And I want people to feel like, you know what, this is kind of cool. It's almost like a vicarious method. And I hope we get better at it. I don't think there's a perfect anything out there. I mean, there's people that are spit polished, where they sound good and they can wear a suit. And that's another thing I was going to talk about, my clothes. Now I've got my gym shirt on from earlier, but I'm going to dress a little bit better every time we come on. Nashvilleian, maybe some, I don't know. I'm not going to wear a hat, but well, maybe. But I definitely want to make sure that it's appropriate, every single thing that we do. And I don't want to lose sight of that. And hopefully this year, 2024, starting off with today, whoever sees this now or later knows that, we mean business. We really want to make sure that, and I say we, because it's a team effort, no matter who gets involved with me and us, to make sure that people at least have a little bit of an opportunity. Now, we're not going to be able to cover every single person, but at least we're one, hopefully, of many to come, where we want to get as much out of you as possible. We want to squeeze that juice out of you like an extractor. We want to make sure that if you have something to say, there's people that have signed up on Nashville. One guy, I forgot his name. What was his name? He worked with Johnny Cash for 20 years. And I kind of was so busy when I was going back to Detroit, I forgot to contact him. But he posted a couple things if you go back. And what's nice about that is that he might have something really cool to say. Now I'd like to prep him and vet him a little bit, but there's going to be a lot of times where we'll probably bring people on here, which I have, because I'm at the mercy of, time. Like, well, okay, we can't get, like I'm going to say, hey, send me some information, or is there anything I should know, or blah, 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 blah. And I can't always get it. And that's okay. That's okay. And, I just hope it doesn't like backfire or derail on me sometimes. But even then, I think that if somebody comes out and has something really cool to say or something that we have never heard before about Johnny Cash, who was I talking to? Somebody the other day about it, and they were saying, Johnny Cash actually did a song that Nine Inch Nails wrote called "The Hurt," and I did know that, and a lot of people out there don't know that. And I said, well, most people will probably think of Ring of Fire, or what's Folsom City Blues, or what's that song? I don't know. I didn't follow Johnny Cash completely, but I know that he wore black, and I think it was his wife June Carter, stuff like that. Okay. So it doesn't mean I'm praising every single person that's famous out there, but I know that as soon as people start talking, that we're going to let them talk, and we want them to say exactly what they feel. And if they need a little nudging or coaxing, a little push here and there, I mean, that's fine. We'll do that. But so far, it seems that most people will get a comfortable sense of what we're trying to do when they get on here, and they just let their heart pour out. That's part of what Nash Talk is going to be. How did I come up with that name? I mean, is it on there somewhere else? Maybe. I was driving as soon as I arrived back here in August. I was driving down the road and I was talking to a friend of mine, and I thought, how they like say trash talk, right? And then Nash. So I kind of came into that, but I didn't want it to have a negative connotation. I wanted it to be basically just something that was easy to say, easy to remember, and that had relevance to what we were trying to do. Anyway, so that's basically how long I've been on. 22 minutes. Okay. So maybe that's, the cusp of what I wanted to get out there. I didn't make an announcement on it. I didn't forewarn anybody except for maybe 10 minutes before I came on. And I know it's a Wednesday. I know it's a tiring time of the week. We're worn out from shopping. We're worn out from having people over. We're worn out from spending money and drinking till 4 a.m. a couple days ago. So I wasn't anticipating anybody to come on, but I just wanted to get this out. I almost just recorded it. And but I also want people to be entertained by it. And on the other side of the coin, I want the people that get involved to be able to come on here anytime they want without even having to be interviewed. They could just sit there and leave their own messages and post it. If you're out there, if you're an artist anywhere from any level, or a producer or a manager or anybody, feel free to, to put it out there, because the people that we are connecting with are serious about what they do, past or present. When I say past, I mean, they've been doing it for a long, long time, 10, 20, 40 plus years. I know a lot of musicians that have played with a lot of major bands out there, and artists, and you name it. I mean, Rick Rubin, and, Jimmy Iovine, and, there's so many others. And I mean, you can't get any better than that. But a lot of these people, and I don't want to be remiss by not saying this, but there's a lot of people in bands that you've heard of, that you've bought albums or concert tickets to from the last several decades, that you may not know the original bass player for Elton John, or Bob Seger, or the keyboard player from Bon Jovi. I see it all the time. And you see them year after year, decade after decade, and people can't tell you their names. I'm thinking, God, wouldn't that kind of suck to be that person up there? And I'm sure they accept it. But at the same time, I want to hear from them and or about them and their story, right? Because I'm sure they got a particular viewpoint. Kiss was 4 members: Peter Criss, Ace Frehley, Paul Stanley, Gene Simmons, and then they've had their other people. They had Eric Carr, and then I don't know who else they've had since then. Obviously, this Trevor guy or somebody. But I always like to think, I mean, they call them hired guns, but these guys aren't hired guns. They were the original members of the band. It's like Aerosmith. I think most people can only think of 2 people out of the 5 or 6 people in the band. Steve Tyler, number 1, lead singer, and Joe Perry. All right. And we've heard their things. Sometimes they're together, sometimes they're apart. But what about the rest of the band? Let's hear from the drummers. Let's hear from the keyboard players. Let's hear from, who's playing the mandolin, the triangle, and the kazoo. I don't care. And I think there's a lot of lost information, a lot of intel about that. And same thing with the one-hit wonders out there. I mean, pick 10 of the best songs in uh, your library, your Spotify, your iTunes, whatever, and think about like, you know, what was that song about? Who wrote it? Um, just little things. And so I would just want to fill it up. And what if things don't work? We're not, I mean, we probably won't use it as much. But if things do if we start to find 2 or 3 things that work within this parameter, we'll use it, and we'll keep going with that. And if you're out there, feel free to let us know what you may or may not like. I'm not going to get political or anything on here. I know Howard Stern is probably one of the biggest interviewers in the world. He's had a crazy cycle of radio stations and things that he's done. But I know that when he put any of his personal feelings or effects up there, he lost his audience. And I am thinking to myself, maybe he felt empowered that way. We're not going to do that. Now, if our guests do that, that's their thing. But as far as I'm concerned, Nash Talk is about music. It's about the artist. It's about the artistry. And it's about promotion. If you feel like you want to self-promote on here and you've got something like anything, feel free. If you got a story you want to share that's musical, we've got somebody trying to not hack, but push some kind of YouTube thing on all our things from India or somewhere else, look at this free thing. Don't click on that stuff. Don't click on that. If you want to do something, let us see it. Let us, pretty much we're going to approve almost anything that's legit. But if it's stuff like that are trying to scam you or get you into some raunchy thing, we're not about that. We ain't gonna have it, no matter how many times they hit us up with it. They do that to everybody, so we're not gonna. I can't police everything, but we'll do the best we can. So that's it. I don't know if there's anything anybody wants to mention or say, but if you think of something later, feel free. Again, if you have somebody, you may know somebody in your house, your community, in another part of the country or world that, hey, you know what, I want to, can we get them? Because even if we do an interview here and we have an audience of, let's say, 50 people on a slow night, the best part is that we also have it on, we have it on Facebook as Nash Talk. We also have it as YouTube, The Slice of Nashville, which is basically strictly that. We do have Twitch. We do have an Instagram thing. We're still playing with that. And let's see, Twitch. Oh, and LinkedIn. So, and if there's other things we can add as time progresses and technology updates and permits, we're going to do that. So basically, you can take it, or they can take it, whoever can take it, and save it and promote it on their own thing, or share the links. Hey, look, this is what I was doing. This was my story. Or I'm going to be at this place, or we have a record release or song release party here or there, or check it out. If you go and look, you'll see what we've done. And it's really easy for us to do it. But I want you to know that I'm going to put everything I can going back and forth to Detroit and Nashville, primarily here. And then, of course, working with the guys in Las Vegas and Los Angeles. And I suspect we're going to be dealing with a lot of people from the United Kingdom, Australia, New Zealand. I know that. Sweden, parts of Canada. I mean, we're not limited to anything at any time. I don't know. I'm just trying to think the things off the top of my head that maybe will let you know that it's not going to be something where I don't want you to be bored. I don't want anybody to feel like, oh my God, what is this? I want people to go, oh, wow, that was pretty cool. Or really, I didn't know that. Or wow, it's, 40 years since Van Halen did Jump, or, like I put on the other day. When I see it, I post it. And it's not anything that you can't see on your own from other sources, but as long as you know that it's not one thing here, it's maybe what you've seen on different parts of social media or in your news feeds or something like that. But we want mostly it to be about music and whatever you can possibly think of. And, I sometimes I wake up and I'm going, what else can we add to that? What hasn't been done yet? And even if I Google it a week later, thinking I thought of it first, and then I see 4 or 5 people doing it, there's not one gas station, there's not one drugstore, there's not one nightclub, there's not one of anything. You go downtown Broadway, and within a mile stretch, they've got like 30 buildings doing the same thing. Free cover band, beer, that kind of thing. Oh, and hats and boots. We're not selling any hats and boots. I mean, maybe the people. Oh, and if you do have merchandise, okay, I don't want to say you can't sell anything, but if you do have merchandise that you want to sell, whatever, coffee mugs, t-shirts, I don't know, whatever you got, guitar picks, feel free to do that. You can't make enough money. Musicians are probably unless you're like a Morgan Wallen or a Taylor Swift or Elton John or somebody like that. There's a lot of musicians, more so than not, that aren't making a lot of money. So I also want them to get paid. If they got some digital apps out there and they're legit, PayPal, Zelle, Venmo, whatever, feel free. Come out here, get whatever you can get. That's the American way, really. And I guess that's it. So just know that if I could say anything left, if there's anything left for me to say, I always wanted to be myself, the songwriter, and maybe on stage, and maybe some of that's behind me, but I always wanted to make a difference with music. And because of this technology and a lot of other things, I didn't give up the dream. And I could have stayed in Detroit and done this, but I really wanted to feel it. And I'm going to tell you something. I've met some of the best people ever. And even the people I'm staying with, they're some of the best. And I'm not just saying that. I mean, because I could stay anywhere, and I needed the experience. I mean, I could be upstairs in a room that's probably 20 degrees warmer, and I want to be in the wild. I want to be in the rough of it. When people ask me, well, you're really not from Nashville. Like, are you kidding me? I have 3 acres of woods and miles surrounding me. And I feel like I'm home. So, just because I'm behind the camera doesn't mean I'm not here. I'm here. I'm here in Tennessee. And I want to bring you that experience. And I want to give those people, whether you're here in Nashville or not, an opportunity, if I can help you a little bit, like lifting you up. And it's not just me. There's probably a lot of people out there, trying to do the same thing, networking and helping each other out and lifting each other up. That's what you're supposed to do with life, right? So, like Vinny says here, what do you put here? Networking. Absolutely, Vinny. All right. Big shout out to Mr. Positive. I know I didn't see him tonight. I know he always wants to come on here. And thank you for anybody that sees this now or later for coming on tonight. Share the message, share your friends. There's no strings attached, nothing, seriously. I mean, if we ever decide to profit by it, we're going to probably take most of it and put it into this and bring you better everything. And, I want you to have fun with it. At the very least, something a little different. Just like when you pay for Hulu or Netflix or Prime, and then you went through all the binging and the channels and whatever you get, and then you got to go, well, now I got to buy Disney Plus, now I got to buy this. Oh, now I got to go on Freevee and Tubu and all these other things, and you still run out of stuff, right? So that's pretty much it. We're just trying to take it to another level. Oh, somebody messaged me. Sorry, something else. And that's it. All right. So get some sleep. It's 9:30 p.m. on the 3rd of January. About to sign off. We got off early here. I know it's 10 p.m. on the East Coast, or 10:30 actually. And anywhere else you may be, just look out for each other. Look out for yourself. Don't give up. Don't quit. Keep going. If you joined a gym, if you started a program, if whatever you're out there doing, I'm one of those people. If anybody had a reason to quit everything, it'd be me. All right. And I came to Nashville, and they were telling me, don't go. I'm like, no, I'm going. I go. And so I'm here. All right. So wherever you need to be, go. And if you can't go for some reason, money or circumstance, whatever, maybe I can help you live a little vicariously through that. And if you do want to put out a song or something like that, let us know. Go to Session Studio, meta tag it so you own it. And it's timestamped when you put it on here too. So, once you put it anywhere, you own it. You owned it. So, you're protected. But I just want you to know that. We want you to succeed. I want you to succeed. And there ain't no better gift than that, right? I mean, that's what music's all about. I feel like I succeeded just putting this out here. And, if there's more than one person watching, I won. And if you feel like you can come on here and do something good, you win. Win-win, right? All right. Like I tell all the people on my other stuff, times 10. And for you, times infinity. Get it, write it, sing it, do it. Have a great night. Welcome to 2024. Every day is a song. Every day. Have a great night.